Hey there everybody, Tim Reading here, founder of My Cloud Crew. We're going to take a look at step 2 of your setup process once you've started at My Cloud Crew. We're going to look at cloud tools. So there's a whole swag of tools you could be using to communicate, delegate tasks, VoIP, task management platforms, file storage. There really would be hundreds that we could go through. We're going to focus on some of the ones that we use and our clients use that do cover just about every scenario that you could be looking at in terms of the cloud. Okay, so I'm going to bring these all up. All right, so we've got 5 general categories we're looking at here. First being collaboration, we're going to look at Teamwork PM. Now we've got a series within this knowledge base. We have a series of teamwork videos, so we won't touch on that for too long because we have a whole section dedicated to that. That's where you'll be communicating with your staff every day and delegating tasks. General communication, so things like texting and calling. Google Hangouts is great, as is Skype. They're very similar. The main difference between these two is Skype also has phone numbers and can kind of be used like a VoIP phone. It's happening less and less with the introduction of platforms like Just Call, but Skype is still around. G Suite, or the Google Suite, has moved a lot of people away from Skype who are now just using Google Hangouts for basically chat and video calling. File storage, so we've got Google Drive, Dropbox. They're quite similar. Google Drive is also linked to the G Suite or the Google Suite, so that comes with Docs, which is like Word docs, Sheets, which is like Excel, and a few other things like Slides, which is what you're watching now, similar to PowerPoint. And Teamwork PM also has its own file storage. All right, now one thing I didn't touch on here is you can also message, or I'll call it InMail, inside Teamwork. So far you've seen Teamwork does cover the first 3: file storage, collaboration, and messaging or communication. Teamwork PM doesn't have chat though. Okay, video conferencing. There's a lot of video conferencing platforms out there, but the one taking the world by storm at the moment in 2018 is Zoom. Most of our clients use it. We use it internally. We record all meetings in the cloud, and it's just a really easy to use system, and we'll have a look at that. And in terms of VoIP, so voice over internet protocol, so phones, we've got Just Call, which is a great platform that has both mobile numbers or cell phones in the States, and landlines, and you can also text. So these are basically cloud-based mobile phone numbers. So they sit in a browser, or they can also be an app on a phone. So the phone can ring, or the browser can ring. Just like a mobile phone, but in addition to not a normal mobile phone. And Dixa, D-I-X-A, is very similar, but mainly for landlines and more of a general call center platform, so a little bit more robust in terms of its functionality. But for small businesses and solopreneurs, Just Call is more than sufficient, and it has the added benefit of also having mobile phone numbers, which Dixa does not. Okay, I've jumped into Zoom, so we're going to start with Zoom. Zoom's a great little platform, and I'm just going to show you the basics of it to begin with, so how to set up a meeting. So I'm logged in, and I can choose to set up a meeting with or without video. So if I click on with video off, which I'll do because I'm filming, I'll show you what happens. So you can see it's joining a meeting. I've just hit one button, by the way, connecting to the cloud server, so it's already recording. And now I may want to email this to someone, the link, or I might be in Google Hangouts or Skype, and I've just copied the link and I'll paste it to them, or I can send it to them. I can turn the video on. It's off at the moment because I'm already recording. And one of the great features here, if you've got a group in a meeting, you can create a breakout room. So you might have 5 people in a meeting. A topic might come up that might require it being needed to be dealt with separately or after the meeting or during the meeting. You can create a breakout room and move a couple of people into a separate meeting. Think of it like you're in a boardroom or a normal office. You've got 5 people in the boardroom. Something comes up and you say to 2 people, hey, go and talk about that outside and come back to us with a solution, for example. So Zoom is really good at taking real world scenarios of collaboration and teams and splitting off into smaller teams and moving that into a video conference platform. So it's a great system. You can also chat inside the Zoom room and managing participants as well. And if you don't want to be heard, if someone's talking and you know they'll be talking for a while, you can mute as well. If there's background noise where you are, which often happens, then we often ask people to mute while the other person's talking. So Zoom is a great little platform. I'm going to end that meeting. You can see I can leave the meeting, which means I can go back to it, or I can end it for everyone. If you're the host and you're leaving early, make sure you hit that and not that, otherwise everybody gets kicked out of the meeting at the same time. Okay, so I'm going to end that. Okay, I'm now in Google Hangouts, so you can see it's a nice display. We've got phone calls, which is a reasonably new addition, messaging and video calls, and you see automatically chats just pop up. So these are in basically chronological order, most recent to last. So you can see me constant chatter with me and my team. So I can create a new conversation. If I do that, I can pick somebody and then it'll pop up. Let me pick that person, for example, and you can see Chow, one of our great bookkeepers, and ignore that. And now I can start a chat. And I can go straight into a video call as well. And in that video call, we can screen share. Obviously, I'm recording now, so I can't do a concurrent call. But if I was doing it, you'd be able to see some features around screen sharing and that sort of thing. Just a comment on Hangouts. For video conferencing, it's a thicker, I'll call it a thicker, clunkier product than Zoom, in that if you're driving or if you're on your cell phone or not in a great connection area, it will lag in comparison to Zoom, which seems to be a bit thinner. And my assumption is it requires less bandwidth, which is why it's reacting differently. So if you want a video conference, particularly for training, because you can record in Zoom, and it doesn't appear you can record using Google Hangouts. So we'd suggest using Zoom if you're looking at video conferencing, especially if you're recording. Okay, I'm now inside Just Call. So, oops, it has done something else. Just bear with me. Okay, so Just Call is, like I said a few minutes ago, it's a great system it's a VoIP. So mobile phones and landlines, and it's got a really good dashboard. You can track all metrics in terms of inbound, outbound calls. You could assign a number for your VA. You could assign the same number to multiple team members. You can even create quite extensive call queue functionality inside here. If we had staff that were working for you that were doing support, for example, you can have a fair amount of IVR functionality built into this, almost like a mini call center platform. Where this excels, where it's quite new, is the SMS functionality. So if I click on this, I've got an inbox, and this is in the cloud, so I can send and receive messages in the cloud. So you can see all these numbers coming in. I've got text messages going in and out, and you can see I can compose a message. Pick a contact. I don't have any contacts there. I can just paste a phone number and then type something in there and send it. I can even send later, which is great for customer service and birthday reminders, that sort of thing. So let's click on that and just have a quick look there. Oh, there's nothing there. Let's see if it'll let me. Not yet. All right, so I can send that next week at 11 o'clock. And that's just a test. It's saying numbers incorrect, obviously. Okay, so future data text messages as well. So picture your staff using this. They'll be logged in to this system, assuming it's not API'd into a CRM. So we actually API this system into our CRM, which is HubSpot. So we can view it here, and we can also view it. In CRM. All right, let's have a quick look at phone numbers. So you basically rent phone numbers inside this system. So now it depends upon whether you've asked us to give you a phone number for your VA, or whether you've asked us to give you one for you and for various team members. But this is our dashboard. So if we add a phone number for you, then we'd simply click on add. You'd be able to log in, and you would not be able to see all this, but you would be able to see your own functionality. So you'd be able to send and receive text messages, and you'd be able to make and receive phone calls in the browser, and you could also download the app, and your phone would ring just like a normal mobile call is coming in. So you essentially would have two mobile phone numbers. Again, most of our clients use this to give their staff mobile phone numbers. The cost does depend upon how we package it, etc., but generally at cost. Okay, so I hope that was helpful. So we've covered, I didn't go into Skype. Everybody knows how Skype works. And again, I believe Skype's a little bit outdated given the functionality of a lot of other platforms. So we've covered VoIP, which is Just Call. Check out Dixit.com. That's mainly for landlines, but I'd frankly recommend Just Call. And what we'll look at now is we'll take a brief look at file storage, because I'll show you how that's set up in both Teamwork and Google Drive. Okay, so I'm logged into my Gmail, and you can see my profile there. So these are all the things I can see linked to the G Suite, Google Suite. I got a lot of stuff, as you can see. So I can click on Hangouts. I can even get into AdWords through here, and Drive. Okay, so a bit of an insight into what you can see inside our system. So a lot of the training components that I've been building over the last day or so are at the top for quick access. And you can see we've structured this just like a C drive on a computer, or a server. So we've got R&D. These are all our divisions basically. And I can click on one of these and drill deeper. I won't for confidentiality purposes, but imagine clicking and you see just more of the same. And then you get down to documents. And those documents are docs, sheets, slides. So Word doc would be the equivalent, Excel equivalent, PowerPoint equivalent, and you can see all the other things. So some of these are paid apps that we've bolted into this. Drawings and forms are probably the most commonly used outside of the top three. Okay, so we use this for uploading files. We also use it for real files, as in docs and sheets. We don't use Microsoft Office. We don't use Excel, and we don't use Sheets. And a lot of our clients use Office 365, so it's probably 50-50, totally up to you depending on what you use. Great for file storage as well though, Google Drive. So we're now going to take a look at Teamwork and how to use file storage inside Teamwork. Alright, so we're in Teamwork. We're going to go to Files. Okay, we can see there's no files yet, so we can upload a file. I can drag any file from my drive across here, so you can see what I'm just working on, and I can dump it. Now that probably won't work because it's huge, probably won't let me do it, but it'll start doing it anyway, and you can see it's starting to upload that. Currently, there you go, 1%. We can describe what it is, and with advanced we can use versioning. I recommend that. So versioning means if you upload it again, it'll say 1.1, again 1.2, 1.3, etc. And we can determine who we notify. We create some categories too. So I can add a category and call this, I could call it bookkeeping files, and add that category. and eventually that will upload and sit there as a file. Um, Advanced functionality, you can actually sync this with Google Drive, which some of our clients do. We can do that at the project level. It's not a universal syncing. So if just let us know if you want to sync Teamwork with Google Drive just for instant file sharing. So for example, if you're sitting at home or you're sitting in your office and if you upload a file or you just create a file like a doc or a sheet, if you have synced it, or if you've asked us to sync it into Teamwork, then that will instantly be available for your crew members anywhere in the world. So that's a really cool feature that Teamwork's worked on over the last year or so, is the automatic syncing of Google Drive folders. So just keep that in mind. Ask us if you'd like us to do that for you. It's a pretty simple process. Okay, so that pretty much covers the cloud tools. So we've gone over Teamwork. There's a whole series in this knowledge base on Teamwork, adding tasks, managing people. I've just covered how to upload files and how to manage files, the versioning. We've gone over Google Drive, which is great for storage and/or it's Microsoft Office, but Google Suite. We've looked at Just Call, a really cool phone system which covers VoIP, mobiles, and also covers landlines, text messaging. It's all in the cloud. It's also can be on a phone, but as far as your VAs are concerned, it'll be all in the cloud, and they can be answering calls with a headset at their desk, and also sending text messages and making phone calls on your behalf. And an Australian mobile phone number will show up, which is pretty cool, because things like Skype doesn't work that way. Skype is going to come up as a private number, and as you know, most people don't answer private numbers these days. We also looked at Google Hangouts, which is great for on-the-fly texting, chat. It's an app on a phone. It's also browser-based. Okay, guys, if you need any help with getting any of this set up, please reach out to your relationship manager, and in some cases, your crew member or VA may even be able to do it for you. All right, hope that was helpful.